Are you tired of going to Liberty events only to meet higher fees and diminishing attendance? Is it troubling that your banners have to be approved by the Libertarian Central Planners? Are you tired of seeing your friends physically removed because they said something edgy? Hey, that's none of my business. Then you should check out the Jackalope Freedom Festival non-event at Baca Meadows in the cooler part of northern Arizona. Meet Liberty activists, listen to talks, have a beer with Hoppy, score some free Freedom Fiends merchandise, camp under the stars, and fight the state with delicious Navajo tacos. And the best part is that there's no fees or libertarian general scrutinizers. Check out JackalopefreedomFestival.com for more information and directions. Runs from August 1st through 8th. That's JackalopefreedomFestival.com.
Welfare bill.
The Happy Puppies and Kittens bill.
Yeah.
Whatever the bill is called, you know it means the opposite. Happy Puppies and Kittens bill, they're going to kill puppies and kittens.
They're going to be very sad puppies and kittens.
I think that's a very safe bet based on everything else they've come out with.
It is slavery, it's just a different name. A lot of people don't realize what it is, and when we bring these ideas to light and make people realize, that this government force is the problem.
And to me, it's like I say, imagine you're an abolitionist in the 19th century, and these slave masters are giving you the same exact argument. Who's going to pick the cotton?
Hey, Seeds of Liberty, read the show's description, please. Fervently complete the course, report him to the infantry. Finish him, deconstruct the fallacy. Seasonal production means it seems to spawn a tragedy. Peep the action, please, a fraction of the allegory. Corollary cadences, complaining on a sadder story. Menial, recently reading into the thesis here. Mirroring the people who completely fail to see it though. Seeing is believing, yes, the reason is appealing most. Reading enemies is just enables you to see it too. Menial, recently reading into the thesis here. Mirroring the people.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seeds of Liberty podcast. This is episode 70. As always, the Seeds of Liberty podcast is covered by the BIPCOT No Government License. This allows reuse by anyone except governments and the agents thereof. You can find out more information about this at bipcot.org. So this week, we have our friend Paul Gordon sitting in for Danilo, who is still not figured out how to do anything with that horrible piece of garbage he calls a computer. Hey, Paul. How you doing, man?
Up? I'm doing good. This is I'm breaking my FeenPhone cherry, and it's on your 70th show. I think that's like a biblical prophecy.
Yeah, man.
I'm real happy about that. Real happy about that.
Yeah, well,
Illuminati confirmed.
Yes, you know it. You know it. Join Team I. Join Team I now.
We're very happy to, rob you of your virginity from FeenPhone, so that's a win for us. And we also have our buddy Dan, who's hanging out with Dave. Hey, Dan. How are you, Dan?
How's it going?
Hey. Dan is our traveling friend. He's always somewhere. He was actually here a couple weeks.
Wandering gypsy.
Exactly. That's a very good way to describe you, Dan. You are a wandering gypsy. You were just here. You were just here at my house. What? A couple weeks ago? I don't even. I have no concept of time anymore. It wasn't that long ago, right? 3 weeks ago, maybe you were here.
I think about 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Shortly after I returned from FeenFest, and of course, Dave is here. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Jeremy. Hey, Paul. Paul, it's great to have you on the show, man. It's been fun having Dan here at the house for the last few days. Just hanging around another anarchist is a stress reliever, especially one as mild-tempered as Dan.
Can we start a new anarcho group, Anarcho Gypsy? I'm down with it.
Anarcho Gypsies.
It might be like me and one other person.
Yes, exactly.
Well, no,
but you guys would rule.
There are a couple of there are a few people.
Wouldn't you rule?
Sorry. Yeah, no rules. No rulers. No, I ran into a couple of people up at FeenFest that actually, they don't do what Dan does, but they're pretty much wandering gypsies because they festival hop. And they hawk their wares at every festival, and they just tramps across the country and stop wherever there's a little or big festival going on. So you'd have a couple of people in the club, Dan.
Dan, do you have a home base, or are you not at liberty to disclose that because of the drone tracking?
I can tell you, but I might have to kill you.
All right. Well, with everything that I've seen around here, I might be up for that.
Damn.
Whoa.
You went dark.
I kid.
Paul, you went way too dark, way too early.
I know.
Life isn't that bad
I'm
yet,
only
is it?
on my first beer, and I'm that dark already? What the heck?
It's all right. Well,
the sun's gonna come up tomorrow.
You know what?
Paul.
We could talk about Bronies. We could switch the topic to Bronies.
Bronies?
Bronies. Yeah, Bronies.
Didn't we just? I just talked about that recently. Why do I feel like
you
I just
did
talked about that?
on Freedom Feed?
Oh, that's right. Jim and I.
Jim and I'm suspecting that Jim is actually a closet brony. I'm trying to get some traction on this. So far, nobody is biting, but
I'll tell you how you know someone's. I'll tell you how you know someone's a brony. They'll ask you this question. So what's your thoughts on being a brony?
asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, I'm just asking for a friend, just wondering, and then they're gonna judge what you say off of that. And if it's, oh my God,
exactly.
I love.
Oh yeah, man, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Then they're like, oh, me too.
Yeah.
You haven't been to the meetings, you know?
I don't. I mean, Paul is referring to. I was talking to Jim Jesus the other night about this, and apparently he has a friend who was a brony and tried to get him into it, and he just didn't see the appeal. And I mean, I've never examined it at all, but I just don't understand the fascination, like, of all 1980s cartoons.
You hear that rope pirate in the background there?
Yeah, that's my neighborhood.
He's hunting someone down. Someone's speeding.
Get that money. Get that money.
Hey,
son.
Paul,
Go
tickets
money.
save lives.
Actually,
Yeah,
that's sirens.
Another victimless criminal.
That's sirens.
Police lives.
That siren's usually
that's not like an ambulance.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's usually an ambulance. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's not a rope pirate. Oh man, I feel cold. That's harsh. Man.
Hopefully somebody's getting saved instead of about to be murdered. Right. Anyway, yeah. So I don't. Of all, like I was saying, of all the shows, of all the. There's so much anime out there with so many more adult themes, because how it was explained to me is there's like some kind of like humor in it that was, there's actually like more geared for adults, but not really anything crazy, like not like a lot of the Pixar movies and stuff like that have like stuff in it that both kids, the kids will enjoy the movie, but they won't. The other stuff will go completely over their head, but it's there for the adults to get and laugh at too. It's not like that severe, but there's stuff. So like, I just always assumed it was something to do with like it was some kind of furry thing or something along those lines, like a sexual thing.
Well, no. Furries is a whole different.
I know furries are different, but I meant
just thinking it's in that family.
Thank
right?
you, Paul. That's what I meant. Like not the same thing as, but in that family of it's
right.
It's it's this bonding thing, but there tends to be a lot more sexual stuff going on. So that's what I just assumed, because I'm like, My Little Pony, really? It just doesn't make sense.
I'm still not sure there isn't, but
But Jeremy, friendship is magic.
Oh gosh.
Well,
Just so everyone knows, I've never seen an episode of My Little Pony, and I'm proud of that. Although I have seen plenty of Dora episodes, but I have a child.
Well, yeah, I was gonna.
Fortunately, she's out of it, but man.
I was gonna see. Luckily, my girls don't watch, or at least they don't watch it around me. They have the little dolls and stuff like that. But there was a cartoon. There was an older one years ago, when the show was when the My Little Pony was first a big thing for. So like I remember the original shows, because my sisters used to watch them all the time, because they were obsessed.
I remember
with it.
hearing about them. Yeah.
Yeah. So. But yeah, like I said, I don't get the fascination. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I can chalk it up to people just looking for any type of distraction.
Whenever I run across something like trying to figure out why the heck people like My Little Pony, I remind myself that people are enthusiastically preparing to vote for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Because of dirt.
Because of dirt.
Well, to tie in what Dan said before, they believe in magic. So there you go. It makes sense.
Exactly. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from voting to My Little Pony.
And you know what?
Just a hop, skip, and a jump.
That's great, Paul. You've solved that for me. Thank you. Now I understand.
Don't need to question anything ever again.
This is why people do these stupid things. So, on that note, that actually, I guess, ties into the goings-on right now. We don't often cover the current events and stuff like that, I guess, but we might as well, because there's such a debacle going on with... I mean, I know, I think I could safely assume...
It's just newsworthy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could safely assume that between the four of us here, we don't really particularly care so much about what goes on with the political circus, except for the laughs. I don't know, you have something, Paul?
Yeah, I do care. I think it's important to figure out what the enemy is doing, and the enemy is all around us. What direction are they moving? Yeah, I'm paying attention. I think it's important. Of course, it's not important. I'm not sizing up who to vote for, but I am sizing up. Okay, what angle are you going to come at me to cut my throat? I just want to know. Hillary, you're going to come after my guns first. Trump, you're going to come after my speech first. At least that's how I say it.
I don't know if I see Trump coming after speech, though, but...
I talked about this recently. I don't remember where anymore. I talk about things, but I had this conversation, and I don't think it really matters. The speech thing, I more and more that I do, when I do pay attention and I listen to the things these two psychopaths talk about, I really...
4 psychopaths now. There's 4 psychopaths.
Is there? Oh, I guess.
Dude, there's the Stein woman, and then there's...
I don't take those two seriously. I don't really think they're going to have much of an impact.
I'm going to throw them into the mix because it's more fun to think of 4 psychopaths and way more fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if old Gar is a full-blown psychopath. At least not yet. He's a little too ditzy. I think he's, an accidental sociopath, perhaps. But with the other two, Clump. I don't think that.
I like that, Clump.
Yeah, I don't remember who said that first, but I think it's the best one for him.
Sounds like a Lufenism, doesn't it?
Yeah, possibly. But
I could definitely see Lou saying that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, you mean Clump?
I see. The more, what I was saying is the more and more I see from both of them, and just the attitude they take with the, kind of like the guards, when somebody does something they don't like, when they're, when they're calling in their troops already. I see a revisiting of the Alien and Sedition Acts. I mean, that'll be number 3 at this point, because there was the original one, there was the revisit in the around World War I, and now, yeah, I think it's about time for them. I see that coming. I see that making a comeback no matter which one gets in, and it'll be directed at speech against them to start. Like the original one was, because the original Alien Sedition Acts was designed to protect what's his name, Adams.
Everybody remarks against the president.
But the vice president, you could go to town on that guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was designed to do, and
so at least we can talk shit about Kane, I guess.
I don't even know who this guy is. He came out of nowhere for me. I'm like, this Kane. Okay, people say he's boring.
So you want to hear this?
Okay. Yeah, what's that?
You want to hear this? Okay, so he was the DNC chair last go around for, when Hillary and Obama and all of them were going at it. He was the DNC chair at the time, and after Obama got elected, he stepped down for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who then set up from there, literally started planning Hillary's as the next president. And Kane, I think, only stepped down for the promise of being VP because, this guy came out of left field, right? He wasn't even on anyone's list.
He was on my list. He was, well, not mine. But I'm not running for president in the Democratic Party, but he was certainly someone to look at. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I just think Bernie Sanders was a better pick for her if she was truly trying to lock this election up.
I don't think so. Only because you're right, except for Bernie's. I don't think Hillary plays, man. If she thinks that you got any kind of juice, any kind of power, she's going to cut you off at the knees. And Bernie had real juice, real power outside of her circle, so she could never.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, she is a heartless sociopath.
Yeah, she's definitely a horrible individual. I was talking.
She just really is the scum of the earth, man. It's like I can't even look at her without getting a bad taste in my mouth. And she's just so bad. Even for status, she's just really bad.
She's like, I said it earlier. I was talking to a friend of mine who I ran into this morning, and because he was lamenting the fact that he was about to go spend a weekend with a couple other friends of ours and a bunch of other people who were all not only Democrats but all huge Hillary supporters, and he is basically an anarchist. He just doesn't really discuss stuff like that too much, but you know, he's very big on all the conspiracies and stuff like that. Although the big ones that have pretty much been proven at this point are what led him to where he is now. So, but he was lamenting that, and I was like, I don't know what to say to these people. It's like, yeah, there really is nothing to say at this point, because it's not like, oh, you know. The ridiculous chorus of "you must be a misogynist if you don't like Hillary," which is, you know, already begun, is just insane, because the body count this woman has left behind, you know, both figuratively, and I feel safe in saying now, you know, before the Alien and Sedition X come back, that the figurative and literal body count that she has left behind is pretty much there for everybody to see. It's really kind of hard to
make it retroactive.
What's that?
They might make it retroactive.
Yeah, yeah. If that's the case, I'm screwed anyway. So I guess it doesn't really matter. But they like, I mean, starting all the way back from the Watergate thing, where she was kicked off the case for ethics violations. That is not a good start to your, well, I mean, I guess if you want to be a politician,
it's an excellent start.
I was going to say.
It shows, I mean, they probably looked at her and said, dude, she'll do anything. Dude, come on, man. Come on our team. You'll do anything. I'll do anything. I'll do anything. I know you will, because I just saw you do anything. You're on my team. Seriously, that was a great move.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true.
From that stadium on state-based perspective. And you know, it's interesting what you said, Jeremy, about you know, whether it's retroactive or not. I've had my wife, and she said, you know, Paul, have you ever thought about maybe you should try to tone it down, maybe try to take a step back? I'm working in the Lehigh Valley here on building a voluntarist values newspaper in the early stages, and I'm really going to put myself out there. And my wife said, you really think about this? And I said, everything that I have is out there. It's already too freaking late for me. I have no reason to shut up.
Exactly.
If I shut up now, and if I act like a good little boy, I am still a fundamental risk. I mean, not me. They'll eventually work. I mean, I'm a 2-bit player here, but they'll get to the 2-bit players eventually, and they're going to look at my stuff, and they're going to be, you know, Jeremy, you're toasted, and Danny Boy is. Can I call you Danny Boy? I don't know if I don't know if we're that.
Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
I will do that if they're serving steak and there's only one. And Dave, we've already done too much, so there's no reason for any of us to stop.
Yeah, we're all fucked.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and there's no going back at this point. I think, like I said, at least for the 4 of us here, and plenty of other people I know, if and when that stuff does happen, yeah, we're all screwed. So that's why I gave up caring a long time ago, and just that's actually what kind of made me put myself out there in the first place, because I was like, screw it. I've been talking about crap all over the internet before this anyway. So if they're ever going to do anything, they already have enough evidence, according to their stupid rules, that they can bring me in and, you know, pretty much do whatever they want to me anyway. So fuck it. Why bother? It has to, you know.
Yeah, we don't really have to. In a sense, we don't really have to worry about it, because if the U.S. does go full fascist, we'll all just be disappeared.
Yeah, but you know, if the U.S. goes full fascist, I don't know if we'll all disappear. There's certainly a chance. It depends on, are you unfortunate enough to get on that early roundup list? Because it's going to be easy for them to round up the first few, but then it ain't going to be so easy. There's going to be insurgency. There's going to be. It's so easy to create chaos.
We're not even, guys, we're not even really on their radar. They're really, the biggest thing they're worried about are constitutionalist militias, man. That is the number one thing on their list right now.
They outnumber us 100 to 1, I'm sure.
I believe the constitutionalist militia, I can't even say that, militiaist, I almost said militiaist. And then I did say militiaist, because that's what you do. I think that everything they're doing with the whole sovereign citizen crap, that they're setting us up. They're all, because the language that they use and how they describe exactly what a sovereign citizen is, I think it was actually it was the Freedom Fiends this morning when I was listening to, and Michael Dean, I think he was talking about how the cops are training people to look for sovereign citizen language, and the sovereign citizen language is, am I being detained, and am I not cooperating? The starting dialogue that we have with the state looks a lot like sovereign citizen, but then it quickly departs. But yeah, sovereign citizen is we're the target. I think we're much more of a threat mid-term and long-term than sovereign citizens are, because sovereign citizens, if you can somehow convince them that you got the Constitution thing right, they'll go right back to the bootlicking. They're like, Daddy, we're sorry, we're making up. But we won't. We'll never do that.
Yeah, then there's so many of them too. Because I came across so many of those groups on my way to anarchism, and I stopped at a few of them. And I met some really nice people, some people who, really meant well. I met some real loons, and they're just all so convinced that their set of magic words in a particular order will solve everything.
Right.
Because, like I said,
their politician scribbles will be better.
Right.
Well, no, like I said, I went to a couple of different. I went to a couple of these different organizations and learned about what their plan of attack was, basically. And they all start from the same place, basically. Almost all of them start from this place of the Constitution is this wonderful document, and it got perverted by Lincoln and the Reconstruction and all that stuff, and since then everything is horrible. Now, of course, most of these people also worship Lincoln, which just makes me nauseous. But they're like I said, they all start from that, somewhere around that point, and then it's, well, because of the incorporation of the United States, or because of this amendment, or because of this action,
or all that other stuff.
Yeah, but they all start to diverge from that point, and they all have different lines that they believe is the real reason that the words that they can say to prove that this is what they're saying is correct and what the judge thinks is not. And like I said, I've met a lot of these people. Some of them are earnestly trying to make things better, but they still all get hung up on the Constitution and that it is good. And like you said, if we can get back to that, it'll be fine.
Right. The divide between them and us, and I think that you guys will agree with me, and if not, screw you.
Screw you, I'm going home.
Yes, screw you guys, I go home. They believe in rule of law, and they believe it has some sort of magical power. And Jeremy, what you said, the magical incantation, if they get the Latin in the right order and the words in the right sequence, whatever is coming
it's
at
that
them
noise in that show, Paul. It's the noise in that show from Law and Order.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But what they fail to realize is that there is no rule of law. This is my phrase. I say this all the time. I will beat this into the ground. There is no rule of law. There is only rule of power. So when you hit your magic incantation words, when this dude facing you has the full weight of when this dude has the full weight of the quote unquote state, and we all know that's a myth, but when he has the full weight of the state behind him and he's got the shotgun pointing it at your head, you're going down. That's power. That's a real power he's got there, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Lincoln didn't change the Constitution. Lincoln changed the power structure.
To a certain extent, yeah. Although I'll still contend that it was set up to have that happen anyway.
Oh yeah. No, it's in there. It's all in there. Everything lay dormant. Well, I look at the Constitution and I say, they did not get together and say, how do we get a government that recognizes the individual liberty of others? They got together because they had all these rebellions. And they're like, how do we control these people? But let's be realistic about how much power we actually have. And this is a reflection of the power that they knew they had, and they put in the semantic loopholes so that they understood that where the power was now, it wasn't going to stay there. They were going to be able to consolidate power, and when they did, they would use the loopholes to, quote-unquote, justify what was really happening, which was the balance of power between the governed and the governing was changing.
Yeah, I think I paraphrased Stefan Molyneux here in saying that the United States federal government has always been as big as it can be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where it's like water finds the path to least resistance, and it'll go. And that's the power of the government. It'll go. It'll just go.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, there's a new thing called drones. Well, we got to make an entire agency to monitor and view that and track all those because that could be a danger to the state.
Licensing fees. Oh. Disney cartoon reference, the dude with the taxes. Okay, you guys didn't get it.
I think I think that's a good point though, Dan. That's really it. It's really what it is. Whatever they could get away with, that's how it was, and that's how it continued to be. And they just continue to push. And I mean, for somebody like me, somebody like us, it becomes so evident at this point when you look at things because you can see them being played out in front of you now when you actually know what to look for. But it's the same thing every time. And like when you actually, like if you actually pay attention to politics, like all these knuckleheads running around right now at each other's throats over Hillary or Trump and or all the hurt Bernie supporters, all these people are not cognizant of what's actually going on or what actually goes on a regular basis, because the overwhelming majority of the people are the useful idiots that don't pay attention during any other time than election time. They don't pay attention to the process, which is boring, and I don't recommend anybody do it unless you actually want to learn what's going on and you don't already know.
You don't want to. You just trust us.
Well, no.
It's a dog and pony show that is. It's like in every sense of the word is a dog and pony show because all of that stuff is already chosen. All the judging is done before the votes are count. It's just a dog and pony show. That's all. Well, it is. That's all voting is.
I don't think it's a complete fix at all. I think that, and I don't. I believe that these folks are very sophisticated. You guys know Edward Griffin, and he goes into this. What they have done is they've created this illusion of choice, and they have Donald Trump when he selected Mike Pence. I knew. I wasn't sure. Is this election totally fixed? Have they fixed on one person? Because sometimes they do. But more often than not, they're choosing two people that they don't care who wins. They're going to allow for some variety within the system. Because if they don't, it'll start to become too transparent that they're manipulating.
Oh, sure.
And I know, I fully believe that this election is not set in stone. It's Trump or Clinton, and either one is just fine with the powers that be.
Oh, I would concur with that. That's the way it's been for, quite a while now. That's the reason there's only ever two candidates that ever really, quote unquote, matter. That's why the third guy or anybody else usually gets booted out as early as possible because they don't care. And that's why virtually nothing changes from administration to administration.
Well, yeah, things change. It gets bigger.
Okay, touche. It does grow. It continues.
Touche, Paul.
It continues. You're right. It continues its momentum in the direction of getting larger. But other than that,
they kill significantly more people each year usually.
That's true, and you gotta give them credit there.
Well, I don't know. I haven't looked at the military side of it, but the cops have been hovering around the same number for a while, so I don't think they're really increasing so much. But I get your point.
Well, you gotta count all of it, man. All of the deaths that are caused from socialization.
Yeah, absolutely. All of the deaths
are forced socialization.
When you get to an old age, you know how many people are euthanized in this country with morphine? There's no stats on it, but when you get to a certain age and they say it's just the end, it's not necessarily the end, and they spike up your morphine. That morphine is being used to slowly kill you. So I think Dave is right. I think that the death rates are increasing, and we just can't see it.
Well,
that is one aspect, yeah.
Yeah, it falls into the unseen category because you're like you said though. There's no stats on stuff like just like that one example. There's no stats on so many of these things, so it'd be almost impossible to tell.
Just take the roads. Just take the roads. There's 40,000 plus die each year on the socialized roads. Imagine how many less people would die on the privatized roads because they couldn't afford all these dead people.
The FDA. Think about how many deaths could have been prevented by drugs.
Oh no,
through years and years
I'm not
of necessary testing.
I'm not denying that. I'm saying there's no way to tell. that's the point.
Yeah, it's intangible.
But
you can only guess.
Yeah, we can't say with absolute certainty that deaths increase every year, but I will say
I'll just know this, that Planned Parenthood is taxpayer funded, and they've aborted like 58 million so far.
Yeah, and they're definitely...
But Dave, come on, Dave. Only a little bit of that goes to the abortions. You know that, Dave.
Oh, yeah, my bad. My bad. I'm sorry.
Right. Oh, you're only going to use a little bit for murder? That's cool, man.
I think that's always the counter.
That's cool.
Imagine if you went into Walmart and on the box of, I don't know, Frosted Flakes it said, hey, proceeds of this are going to be going to, feed some kids, I don't know, build a few things, maybe go into R&D to make better products. Oh, and to murder people,
Just like 3 a day or whatever.
How many people would buy Frosted Flakes?
Probably still a lot because they're yummy and most people don't read their own boxes.
A lot. There's assholes out there everywhere.
Listen, this is probably the most important thing that we're going to talk about here. Frosted Flakes are not what they used to be. I remember when Frosted Flakes lasted in milk for more than 3 seconds. So they're gypping us, and I demand if they give me back my Frosted Flakes, I may come back into the fold.
Are you pulling a Cypher right now?
Oh man!
Is this a live ciphering right now? Did you just show your hand, Paul?
I don't know. Did I?
Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah, so we just need to call the Kellogg's Corporation and tell them to make real Frosted Flakes again, and it will create more obedient status.
Right. Well, that was all secret code. I know when this show goes out that certain people are going to hear it. That's secret code, and I could tell you it's secret code because now that I said it, nobody will believe me because that's how the Illuminati works. Boy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh God, you've been watching too much Alex Jones, man.
Hey, now I've never actually watched a complete Alex Jones show ever in my entire life. I haven't.
Yeah, good for you. I watched quite a few of them back in the day.
I didn't go down the Jones road. I had a few friends.
I only watch him because it helps me work on my impression of him. So.
Oh, let me hear your Alex. Really let me hear your Alex Jones. Let's have an Alex Jones.
Oh man, I feel like I do it every episode. I'm gonna. It's like Alex Jones here with Infowars.com.
Yeah, yours is nuanced. Mine is just like a caricature of his. Yours is much more believable.
Yeah,
but I don't listen enough.
He at this point now, I don't know what he's doing. He's saying libertarian a lot. He just had Adam Kokesh on one of his videos. Things are, I don't know, man. They're changing in Infowars. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, you start making money and you want to expand your base, and this stuff kind of happens. I mean, we've seen this happen before with Molyneux and certain other individuals that I will not name. But what happens is if you're trying to make money off of a tiny little marketing group called ANCAPs or whatever the heck you want to call them, and then you realize, hey, I can make more money if I just expand my reach. I think that's what's happening.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was going to say he's just an opportunist because, well, he is. Yeah,
but I said it with flavor.
This is true.
I flavored it. I'm a flavorer.
Yeah, well, getting back to what we were talking about before with the theater that is the U.S. political scene. The thing about them, there not being any difference, and what I wanted to get to is that I don't think it matters. The no change that I referred to was just the same policies are going to get rolled out, no matter which one of them. Like, they may tweak it, like you said, Paul. There's going to be a little flavor, there'll be a little flavoring, and they'll change it up a little bit because you can't make it exact. Otherwise, more people will go, "Hey, wait a minute, something's not right here." But they
want grape or lemon flavored poison.
Well, exactly. all that they dress it up a little bit.
Their version of the American flag will get strapped all over this, and it'll be called the Freedom Bill and the Patriot Bill and all this, or it'll be called the Workers' Bill and the socialist, welfare bill.
The Happy Puppies and Kittens bill.
Yeah.
Whatever the bill is called, it means the opposite. Happy Puppies and Kittens bill. They're going to kill puppies and kittens.
They're going to be very sad puppies and kittens.
I think that's a very safe bet based on everything else they've come out with.
In the arms of the angel.
Wow. A little, what's her name now? I can't remember her name. What is her
Sarah McLachlan.
Oh, my gosh. Adele broke in my head and blocked out Sarah McLachlan.
That's a shame.
I couldn't pick either of them out of a lineup, so I don't really know.
You don't know you don't know Sarah
I know the names, and I remember Sarah McLachlan from, I guess, the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I do remember who she was, but I probably couldn't pick her out of a lineup at this point. I wasn't a big enough fan. I don't think
She had a song out recently. She's still making music, but
good for her. But I don't.
Me and Dan have been. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Dave.
No, I was saying me and Dan have been pondering all day if Julian Assange is going to release this second wave of Hillary, leaks during her speech tonight.
Or maybe just before or something like that. That's what we have both of our fingers, all of our fingers, in fact, crossed.
Are you even crossing my fingers? You are, aren't you?
When is... Ow, that hurts.
Just
Stop.
telepathically just now.
What is that?
My fingers.
I didn't even know... I didn't even know she was giving a speech tonight. But it's funny you mentioned that, because that actually was something else. There was something connected to that I wanted to bring up. And since we already talked a little bit about conspiracy and Alex Jones, did anybody see the stories that are floating around about the one DNC operative who got murdered on Sunday night? The guy.
He didn't. Was it Sunday night that he got murdered?
Early Sunday morning, it said. Maybe I guess it was Saturday night. I don't know. The two articles.
2 shots to the back of the head.
Nothing missing off of them.
Yes, the 2 articles I read both said. Well, actually, I read more than that, but the 2 ones from more reputable sources that I read both said early Sunday mornings. I remember maybe seeing. So I guess it was maybe Saturday night. I don't know. It was only a few days ago, but. There was a whole bunch of other stories on all the conspiracy sites and Reddit. There was a huge thread going on over there that supposedly, now again, I haven't verified this and it may be complete BS, but it's interesting based on what we were talking about with Hillary and her history before, is that supposedly he's the one that Assange says gave him the emails.
Oh, man.
Well, he made a tweet, basically insinuating to that.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you're blaming Russia for the hacks, but one of your assistants just got 2 shots back to the head, or one of your staffers was just murdered.
Those reptilians can get really obvious.
Well, that's not. It's only obvious to us, but it's not obvious.
Did you say reptilians, Dan?
Got Illuminati confirmed there, Dan. I didn't even dip my toe in that story. I just ignored it. I didn't pay attention to the headlines. I know there's nothing I can do about it.
I just don't know. I don't think people are going to swallow the Hillary pill. I just don't think so.
Well, see, that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, do you really are people really that blinded to her anymore? Because all of these things just keep piling up around her. I mean, wasn't there the other guy that, and I had forgotten about this too, but wasn't there the other guy that was supposed to testify against her a few months ago? And ended up dying.
Yeah, he just ended up dead with someone bashed his head in at a workout.
Oh yeah, he died while weightlifting.
In the head with a someone choked him with a weight.
Yeah.
I didn't dip my toe in that either. I just want to mention toe and my in the sentence on your show, so I did that. I didn't look at that story at all because, again, I don't think there's anything I can do about it. But
everything you need to know is in the headline.
I did see a Snopes headline that said it was false, and Snopes is
which one? The second one or the first one? Yeah,
the very first dude, the dude that died, with the head, the big tall dude, he was a huge dude, man.
Again, I've
Diplomat
seen,
or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen those too, and I don't necessarily trust Snopes all the time either, but.
I don't trust Snopes.
But again, that to me, that's not even the point. And I understand what you're saying about there is nothing you can do. I wouldn't, if these weren't brought to me like this. I didn't even know about the kid getting shot the other day until it was brought to my attention like a day or two ago. And when I started to look into it a little bit, it was like, okay, just like you, okay, there's nothing I could do about it, but it does add to the pile that becomes harder and harder. Like that's the thing. Like I used to think, well, how could anybody still be blinded by this? But maybe they're really not anymore, because there really does. The one thing I have noticed whenever I've paid attention to what's going on currently in the election cycle is that there's a lot of different people other than the hardcore Hillary backers in the media that are saying that there doesn't seem to be any organic support for her whatsoever. It's all this, forced, all the...
They just kicked all the Bernie people out of the rally, Jeremy, and paid people $50 to sit in there in the seats tonight.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So there's nothing. So unless the real powers that think they be don't really want Trump in at all, so it's not a matter of they don't really care, why would they be progressing at this point if there's that little support? Unless they know it's rigged in their favor, I don't see the point in pursuing this line anymore, even for them. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Supposedly the DNC knows what's about to come out from WikiLeaks. They're preparing to stop Hillary and put in Joe Biden.
If you could buy
that's what I heard.
Oh, geez,
Mr. Shotgun.
Wow.
My theory is I go back to G. Edward Griffin, the way he described how the system worked. They have to give you wins. The push towards more control has gotten a lot of wins over the last few years. And I think it's time for them to step back just a little bit. This is how dialecticalism works. You take a couple steps back to advance forward. That's why I believe Trump's the guy, and I don't know that he was the guy until I've seen the folks that he selected, and I don't know as many people in D.C. as I used to, because of my conversion has put me on a lot of blacklists, but I still know a few, and from what they tell me, Trump is listening to the powers that be, and they are believing that on key issues that Trump is going to do whatever it is that they want him to do. And when he picked Mike Pence, that to me was like, that's it. Yep, Mike Pence is an establishment kind of guy. He gets along to go along kind of guy. I interviewed him back in 2008, actually, and he was a rising star then, but he was go along to get along kind of guy. So that I'm unless Donald Trump, I don't know, honestly, unless Donald Trump, I can't even think of anything. Everything that comes into my head are the things that he could do to not win the election. I'm like, no, I think they'd still vote for him over Hillary.
No. There's two things that's happening here, Paul. Either Donald Trump is legit 100% real, or everyone's getting played hard. And I think it's the latter. I think it's always been the latter, and I think people need to wake up and realize that the state cannot. It's not a working idea. It just doesn't function.
You think he's controlled opposition for Hillary, or
no? No.
Donald
think
Trump
about if Trump wins
Trump
and defeats.
Is not his own person. He is not his own man. That's why I think he's going to win, because he's not his own man. He has made his deal with the devil.
How so?
Maybe he is the devil, Paul.
He is put in place in his team, behind the scenes, the people that he's selecting that are going to be in his cabinet. He's already making these choices. There's a fair number of neocons. There's a fair number of establishment folks that he is selecting. His inner circle right now is, if they knew exactly what his inner circle they would look like, they would realize he's not quite the maverick that he seems to be. He is the voice. He is the illusion of a win for people who are fed up with progressives winning all the time. Of course, they're all progressives. We all start in Woodrow Wilson's Hive. Every single politician, every conversation they have is well within Wilson's Hive. So they're all progressives, but within their illusion, the progressives have been winning, and Trump is going to deliver them a win. He's going to deliver some bodies. He's going to deliver some prosecutions, and it's by design. It's to cool the jets of the folks for a little while, and then they're going to wait a little bit, and then they'll advance forward again.
Yeah, it's exactly what will happen, because that's what's been happening over and over and over again. They have to play it smart. They have to, it's the whole frog in the boiling pot thing. So,
yeah, and the frog is getting a little like it's going to jump out of the pot.
Yeah, so they have to back off.
Turn the heater off.
But that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the ever, rather the constant increase from like pretty much day one, because that's what governments are designed to do essentially, and they just once people get in power, you just keep pushing and pushing, and a little bit here, a little bit there, and half the time, they write bills specifically to freak people out, just to see the reaction, because if enough people aren't paying attention and there isn't a big backlash, they're like, hey, great, we can push this through now. They don't really care if they do with a lot of this stuff. The stuff they really care about, they mask behind other things and put in the ridiculously ominous bills that nobody can read ever, and and then they trot out all these other ones that are over controversial topics that they have no intention of doing anything about. Really, it's just, what was the one thing I heard the phrase that somebody calls them milker bills, which is basically what it is, because when they get the different corporations that aren't playing ball with them to freak out and put their efforts behind one side of a bill or another, they just do it to draw the attention of people like that, so they're not paying attention to the other stuff they're doing. And it's just a vicious cycle. So, like I said, I don't think they necessarily care, but it does seem odd that Hillary's keep getting pushed despite the fact that there's just no support whatsoever other than what they're forcing.
And it should show everybody that the Constitution is never going to stop men with guns who have a plan to do something.
Yeah, there is no rule of law. There's only rule of power. Exactly.
My magic paper.
Yeah, my magic paper isn't going to stop a 5.56 round.
Well, they don't.
It's not.
They don't have to.
No, the Constitution's not thick enough, Paul.
It's not.
Funny.
It's not. I've tried.
They don't have to use that argument though, because they'll just switch gears to, well, it's not that the people have to be vigilant, which is funny because usually anybody,
they haven't been.
Well, number one, they haven't been. But any time somebody presents that tries to counter me with that, then my next question is, okay, so if you help everybody else become just vigilant enough to keep the Constitution in check, then why do you need a Constitution at all? Yeah, if you can manage to do that, you can get everybody that aware and that cognizant of what's going on at all times, so that the Constitution can be kept in this one position. Then why do you need the Constitution? Why do you need the government?
Yeah, all you have to do is have a few basic standards, like get off my lawn, you jerk. That's a basic standard.
And keep your fucking
word. Hey, you're
word.
On my lawn. Get off my lawn. I'm not even. There's no amendment needed. You're on my lawn, idiot.
Get out of my car.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'll shoot you.
You don't need.
Did you see that video?
No.
That Uber driver yelling at that lady that wouldn't get out of her car or out of his car. He was just screaming, "Get out of my car!" Oh man, if you haven't seen that one, guys, look it up. It's hilarious. He loses it.
I'll check that out. I think another thing that they do with these bills is, I think that. I totally believe in the testing, what will they put up with. But I also think that sometimes they drop some insane bill. They know it's not going to go anywhere. They create the drama. They're like, we got to do whatever we got to call our congressman and convince him not to rape us today. Excuse me, sir, could you please rape us today? All right. And then they win. They quote unquote win. And they're like, see, democracy works. It's it's creating that victory for them. We won one. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the regulators are behind the doors. The regulators
our beggars need to get our constitutional beggars need to get medals and stuff for their duty.
They're manufactured rewards. It's amazing.
Yeah, but meanwhile, the regulators are behind the doors writing whatever they need.
Oh, and then they rewrite that. They change like one line in that scary bill and then they throw it in the very back of a budget bill, and it gets passed anyways. It's like, well, you don't want to feed the kids in Africa bill to pass? Like, what's wrong with you?
They write the Clean Air Act, which is in whatever. Jimmy Carter's whichever, I don't know if it's a Clean Air Act. One of his environmental goody acts, Save the Planet Crap Act. I'm going to call it the Save the Planet Crap Act. Wrote it back in the 70s, and they change it every year. It's like what they do is, and this is, by the way, this is Woodrow Wilson, his master stroke. He is the guy that designed what you're seeing. They write vaguely worded legislation like the Constitution, and the regulators interpret that vaguely wow, whatever. They interpret it and they change it every single year. So it's like they are rewriting they are writing new legislation every
Paul, the Constitution is a living, breathing document that must be up to interpretation for modern times. Come on, man, you know that.
I do. Actually, I would actually prefer something that's. I prefer common law. I prefer living, breathing common law that just deals with the situation and not anything set in, quote unquote, set in stone, because there's nothing in language.
Well, it's just outdated way of transferring information.
What do you mean?
Putting stuff in stone.
Right. You don't do that anymore. Chisels and rocks are expensive. Seriously.
I prefer human flesh.
Oh.
Dude, that's the way you do it. When you write it on human flesh, it lasts forever. Oh, wait, hold on.
Well, this got dark in a hurry again. Jeez,
it got
Paul.
dark again. Hey, you want to go back to the Frosted Flakes? I'm still not done with that. I'm still upset with the Frosted Flakes. Seriously. Do you guys know what I'm talking about with the Frosted Flakes?
I haven't.
Seriously.
I actually haven't had Frosted Flakes in years. They were my favorite when I was younger, and I've had them back over 10 years ago, but I haven't had them since.
Small tangent going back to the Frosted Flakes money going to kill people thing. Publix has recently donated $800,000 to keep medical marijuana illegal in Florida. So boycott the fuck out of Publix.
Whoa, yeah, you know what? That's funny. I just caught that headline before. I didn't get it again. I didn't get a chance to verify though. That's apparently true. Why?
That's what I read anyway.
I read their public statement. It was a bullcrap statement. I mean, I'm not like. I don't smoke weed. I'm not really pro-weed per se, but of course I'm not for legalizing weed. I'm for the government getting off my frickin' lawn. But I read their statement, and it was we're in the interest of protecting you small-minded twits. We are trying to fund whatever we need to fund to ensure that the police can step on your neck whenever they need to stop you from hurting yourself.
Yes, exactly. I'm not in favor of the government, legalizing and regulating marijuana, but I'm also not in favor of people or corporations like Publix donating money to keep it illegal. So again, boycott the fuck out of Publix.
Again, it really does come down to, we want to protect you from yourself. So in order to do that, we are going to empower the government to step on your neck and hurt you.
Paul, could it be
throw you in a cage?
Paul, could it be that Publix has probably a shit ton of pharmacies open in Florida, and that maybe 80% of people in legalized marijuana states stop using their prescription drugs, that they might have an incentive of keeping it illegal?
You mean people are motivated by money and not by principles?
No.
And when they can use coercive force to unfairly have an advantage, a competitive advantage.
Show me a billionaire that hasn't used force to obtain that $1 billion. My challenge is still out. My challenge is still out there. It hasn't been answered.
I don't think it exists. When you get to a certain level of wealth, in order for you to keep growing, you've got to make deals. And I'm not anti-wealth at all. I am anti-wealth that was gained through coercive means. But yeah, I plan on being a billionaire someday. So I don't want to demonize billionaires. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I'm gonna buy a Frosted Flakes factory and get it right.
I don't. Well, I mean, what's $1 really even worth these days? I don't need that. I don't.
About 2 cents.
There you go. I don't need that whatever that much money is supposed to represent at this point. I just want them to leave me alone so I can go start my farm and be happy.
You just want them off your lawn, right? To get off my lawn.
Off my farm. Get off my farm. Get off my farm and leave me the hell alone.
Start the Get Off My Lawn party.
There you go.
Yeah. Sponsored
Get off
by
my lawn, damn it.
Sponsored by the Anarcho Gypsies, which would be kind of weird because they don't have lawns, do they?
Exactly.
No. That's the conundrum that we got to put in place.
I'm just gonna glue some AstroTurf to the front of my car.
Yeah, this is my lawn.
Perfect, man. That'll work out beautifully.
My lawn goes where I go.
I'm gonna grow my own food on top of my car.
Do you guys see any? Is there any pragmatic view that we could take when we see? Okay, I'm not saying Donald is set in stone. Hillary could still win. I think it's highly unlikely. I don't think it's a fixed election at this point. I think
Donald would have to drop out at this point.
I think so.
Donald would have to be murdered or drop out. Yeah.
I think the powers that be are like, the fix is not in for Donald, and part of them are like, if Hillary wins, then that means that people are ready to be, you know what, we've been putting a little bit of Vaseline on with the rapings. Maybe we could just pull back on the Vaseline altogether at this point. I save a few bucks on the rapings. But is there, when we look at it, is there a game changer is there a way that we approach the future under a Donald that's different than under a Hillary?
Well, we started to get to this point earlier. I don't really think so. I think that the differences between the two of them that are presented to everybody are not nearly enough to make any significant change to what's about to happen and what the timeline of it happening is going to be, because like you were saying earlier, Paul, about they have to kind of back off at this point. They've been pushing a little hard. Well, yeah, they may just let it go to Trump because he seems to be the much more popular choice between the two of them at this point. But I think it's just aesthetics what's going to be different. Everything else is going to be, the policies that need to get put through are still going to happen. Everything else is still going to be clamped down even further. I think
the boot's still going to be on the neck.
Yeah, I think some kind of gun legislation will come out of, or at least more ridiculous executive orders and pushes to get more stuff through, no matter which one of them it comes in. Because Hillary's just more of a fascist than he is. That's all it is. It's just a matter of degree. Like, she's a hardcore violent woman. She's evil personified as far as I'm concerned. But he's not much better.
It's what, the difference between totalitarian and authoritarian?
Yeah, pretty much. That's a good way to put it.
I'm of them. Well, let me ask you guys this question: is Hillary Clinton? To a certain degree, we all understand that presidents are puppets. Some are more puppets than others. Some are part of the leadership, and in some rare cases, they had enough charisma that they were the leader. It's happened occasionally. Where do Donald and Hillary fall within that? Is Donald, like, I look at Putin and I don't think that Putin runs Russia, but I believe that he's a legitimate member of the circle that's making decisions. When I look at Obama, I look at him and I do not believe that Obama is at all in the inner circle of leadership. He's a total puppet.
No.
What is Hillary?
You're right. No, he's just Donald? A puppet.
Right.
Well,
I think Donald is an easier pill to swallow for most Americans at this time, just from what I'm visibly seeing.
Oh God, yes.
But that doesn't answer the question. I don't think that.
That is not an argument.
Not an argument. I don't think
that is not an argument.
Thank you, Stefan. I don't think that. I think Trump is less of would have to end up being more of a puppet, because I don't think he's really in as the way Clinton is. Like the Clintons, the Bushes, these people are in the higher circles of power because they've been around. Their families have been around for a while. They've been doing stuff. They're dangerous. You know? So, like, yeah. I don't see Trump that way. Trump's he's part of the establishment at this point, but he's not part of the higher echelon the way you were describing, Paul. At least that's my perception of it. I think Clinton's more of she gets to do what she wants because it does line up with what they want more than Trump does in certain things. At least what he says. Although he's just he switches on everything that he has to too, because that's just what he is. He's a shyster.
I mean, I think what Paul's asking, because we know Clinton Illuminati confirmed. Is Trump Illuminati confirmed? Is there a chance he's not? I mean. If you don't get to that level without making concessions,
at that level, they're all Illuminati. If Donald doesn't get past the Republican primary, I believe I see it a little differently than you do, Jeremy.
Okay.
I believe that Hillary is absolutely a puppet, but she is a true blue believer puppet. I believe that there is a division within the powers that be. There's these different factions. Any group of people that gets together, you're going to have some time where they have a little disagreement about strategy. I think that if you look at what Barack Obama has done, he represents the new progressives, what started after the 50s and 60s, when they switched from with socialism, we're going to make you all prosperous, more than capitalism, to holy crap. Oh, and we're all American jingoists. Progressivism was nationalistic before the 50s and 60s, and then it switched to the social causes and all that. Equality. And Hillary Clinton, I think, represents kind of a hybrid where she's going to. She's still answering to the SJWs, the cultural Marxists, but at the same hand, I believe that Hillary represents the camp that is the nationalist progressivism is going to see a revision under Hillary. Hillary is way more aggressive in her talk than Donald Trump is, and I believe that Donald Trump kind of represents, in a way, the camp. I believe that it is looking at the world and saying, we need to assert our power, quote unquote. I'm not calling myself out. We need to assert our power, but we need to back off a little bit, and we need to give things a break. And I believe there's a real division there. And I believe that Donald Trump is, whether he becomes part of the inner circle, I don't know, but I believe that this guy is working to become part of the inner circle. That he's not a puppet. Oh, he's sort of a puppet right now, but he wants to be, and he could succeed in being an actual member of the inner circle.
Well, in the Dave Troll levels, I got Donald Trump at a 28 right now, out of 30, and if he wins the election, I got him at a 30.
A 30.
I mean, that's the ultimate troll, man. To win the election outright like that with just your own money, basically. I said, Occam's razor. Me and Dan have been discussing Occam's razor a lot lately. The simplest explanation is usually what's happening, and I mean, look at what's just the simple explanation is a Reagan-esque election is coming up, and Trump's going to wreck him. Now, what Reagan did after he got elected was no different than what would have happened under 4 more years of Carter. So,
absolutely right. That's the dirty secret. Well, he talked a good game.
Well, yeah, but that was kind of my point. Was saying I don't think it matters at all. That's why I don't think. While I don't disagree with your assessment of both of them, Paul, that what you're talking about with Clinton, and there's a reason I use the term fascist with her, because she really is. She's violent, nationalistic. She fits everything.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a true blue believer.
Yeah, she really is, and it's the hybrid.
She's a communist.
I don't know. I still see the division between the two, but she just
Donald really wants to be. I believe that Hillary Clinton wants to be Chairman Mao, and Donald Trump wants to be he wants to be Alexander the Great. He wants to be remembered as the man who did great things, and Hillary Clinton wants to be seen as the woman who ideologically and fundamentally changed the world. And Donald doesn't give a crap about that. He just wants to be perceived as a man of power and action.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think this might be a bucket list thing for Donald.
Yes,
he's been a billionaire most of his life. So.
That's
like, why not just, hey, maybe I'll be president. I'm bored.
That's pretty funny.
You know, if you listen to what he says, he's like, guys, I could be at the nicest places in the world, drinking the best drinks and eating the best food. I don't have to be doing this.
He does.
So, I mean, that is a good point, but state is gonna state, man. Nothing will change after he gets elected.
He's fundamental. Well, you're right, because the only thing that will change is anything that Donald sees that will make him the great man. He just wants to be the great man, whatever it takes to do that. And he knows, I mean, he's a pragmatic man. He is so much more like Putin. I mean, from a statist perspective, if you believe in the state and you think that a strong, powerful, prosperous state is good for all, I don't believe that's good for all at all. Donald Trump is your guy. He's going to look after the interest of America. He's going to be bloodthirsty and ruthless. And
hey, the trains ran on time.
the trains ran on time, yeah. But he's not an ideologue, but he does have. It's kind of like, okay, I can talk about my a very brief history, like incredibly brief history of Paul. Years ago, I was talking about people coming together and learning how to live off the land, to rely on themselves. I was very much I still am into green technology. I'm into self-sustainability, all these things. And even while, I mean, I created this thing called Novus Now, all kinds of stuff. But through all of that, I did not remove the state from my equation. I couldn't even fathom it. Couldn't even think about it. And that's Donald Trump. He can't even fathom that possibility. When I look back then, I'm like, holy crap, in 2003, I was closer to truth than I was in 2009. But I missed some really key things. He's in Wilson's Hive. He's firmly in Wilson's Hive. So you're right. Nothing fundamentally is going to change.
Well, explain Wilson's Hive to everybody real quick, if you could.
Okay. Well, Woodrow Wilson talked about changing from an empire of liberty, which is Thomas Jefferson, to a hive. And what he described was, instead of everybody so obsessed and driven by this idea of individual liberty and the individual finding his own way and defining himself, making his own terms, that all of that was counterproductive to what evolution showed you. And what evolution showed you is that the collective is what's more important. It's more important for you to become part of a larger group and to serve that group, for the overall group to grow towards greater sustainability and prosperity and all that. And it was how bees operate. And so he called it the hive. He literally called it the hive. And that's the starting point for everyone.
Well, yeah, and that's how progressives view. That's how communists view everyone.
That's how conservatives view everyone. Still, they just like a tiny bit more liberty. You know, nobody's waking up on the conservative side and saying, "Holy crap! What the freak is on my paycheck? What do you mean Social Security? You're gonna force me to buy a freaking retirement plan that the government is gonna manage? Are you crazy?" No, it's acceptable. It's the third rail. You don't even touch it. That's Wilson's Hive.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you talk to my granddad, my grandmother, every person that's on Social Security, you say, yeah, we should probably turn this off. I mean, it's pure robbery, and it's obviously not working. And, I mean, you might as well have told them that Santa doesn't exist, or, you know, that the Easter Bunny isn't real.
Yeah,
it's rough,
they
man.
Can't even fathom it. You know, even
and it's pure communism. You can ask someone on Social Security this line of questioning, especially if they're Republican. Well, find out if they're Republican first. So the first question would be, are you a Republican or conservative?
Thanks for that, Dave.
Or respect the Constitution.
Good starting point. Define your.
Yeah, and then the second question would be like, what's your thoughts on communism? And then from there, it'd be like, should we end Social Security? And they should see it right there that that's communism. And then if they don't, ask them, well, do you not see that socialism is communism? Or Social Security is communism? And they should be like, holy crap, you're right. I shouldn't support this. But nope, every one of them.
It's not communism when we do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's different. It's for the good of the whole. Oh, crap.
Yeah. The greater good is always the answer, right?
The greater good. Oh, man. You know, yeah, without government, who would squander our retirement?
Well, sure. I mean, I know a lot of people like that. I run into them all the time, and a lot of them are stubborn. But something else I was talking to my friend about earlier is that I think it's more so not that they don't believe these things, that they just reject the possibility of what we're talking about. I really believe most of these people are afraid to question these things because
It's like questioning God.
Well, it kind of is in a sense, and a lot of people I run into, who are willing to at least listen to what I have to say. Once you get to a certain point and you get them to agree with of course voluntary interactions, and of course coercion is horrible and why should we use that, not recognizing what they're actually admitting to right there. But once you get to a certain point, they're like kind of like the people that say, I agree with you in principle and on paper, but it's not. But I don't see it working. Oh,
and that's when the eyes roll back in the head, and you start to spasm, and then you look at them and you just say, "Get the hell off my lawn!"
Speaking in tongues.
Well, yeah, but that's
get off my lawn.
But that's the thing. I think a lot more people these days are getting to that point, where it's not so much they don't believe the stuff and think people like us are completely crazy. They're afraid that we're right. And it's because they don't want to have to deal with it. Because any of these things, once you start to go down any of these rabbit holes, and once you find out that some of these, especially like if you're somebody who's like a hardcore statist and you believe that the government is just, it's the wrong people right now, but they believe in the Constitution, whatever, like you guys were talking about. If you go for any of the stuff that can be like pretty much proven historically at this point, like all this so-called conspiracy theories that proved out to be completely true, and there's like mountains of evidence now, you can't really deny that. A lot of those people, when they reach that point, they're like, I can't go any further. Like my friend was telling me earlier today, he's got a cousin who's like hardcore into the Kennedy assassination and Alien, among other things. But the Kennedy assassination, he's completely convinced.
Are we talking gray aliens or the red aliens?
I didn't get into the aliens because it wasn't really as pertinent to me as the JFK thing, because this individual is has studied the JFK thing from always from Sunday, is convinced that it was some faction of the government that did this. But when it comes to something like 9/11, he doesn't even want to look at it, and I believe the exact phrase he used was, I can't even, I'm afraid to even look. It's not that he thinks there's nothing there. He's actually afraid. Like, people run into this once and then they get stuck, and it drives me batty.
Well, because deep down in their heart, they don't want to think that the people that are supposed to be protecting us, and be the good guys, because if you watch almost every movie, especially the ones that Hollywood makes, the government's always the savior and the protector, and they don't want to think that these guys could, set up something like 9/11, and, if you support that, then you're obviously an evil person, and they don't want to be evil. Everyone wants to believe they're the good guy. Everyone, even Hitler.
I like that Mitchell and Webb experience, whatever the heck. You know what I'm talking about, that British show? You ever see that?
No, I don't watch much British TV.
They have this segment where the dudes they're SS dudes, and they're wearing that head, which is a skull on their uniforms. And the one dude says to the other dude, have you ever noticed what our uniforms look like? Have you ever noticed it's a skull? It looks pretty ominous. Are we the baddies? that's what you.
Yeah. It's.
Oh, are we the baddies? Yeah. But, what the progressives do is they see America for what it really is. Well, but that'll change when their guy's running, which is exactly what happened with Obama. But they'll see what America is, but they won't see what everybody else is. No, dude. The problem is it's a state. See, that's the problem. The state model sucks. It kills, maims, destroys, kidnaps, tortures. That's the problem. See, it's a simple solution.
You can't give people societal permission to commit evil.
Ask one of these people to read the 16th Amendment, and then after they read the 16th Amendment, ask them, where's the limitation on taxation? You do realize that 16th Amendment gave the federal government ownership of everything. All they got to do is claim it and take it. I mean, by rule of law, they own everything. By rule of power, If they tried to take what's on paper, it might be different. But by rule of law, they own everything. I remember when Obamacare was coming down the pike, and I hadn't crossed over yet, and I was like, this is unconstitutional. And I'm looking at it, and even with the framework of the rule of law, the Constitution is perfectly, the Obamacare is perfectly well within the Constitution. You can tax people to get them to pay for their freaking retirement. You could certainly get them to you could tax them for anything you want. There's no limitation, and it's right there in the Constitution. But let's get back to the Constitution.
Well, yeah, but that becomes another.
It's a holy document.
Of course.
Well, yeah.
And that becomes another one of those things that they don't want to examine because, like I was saying, once you find that, even if you find that one thing and it's like, oh, well, now what happens if I look further? Crap. Could it be that everything I think I know is wrong? That's scary. It was scary for me.
Right?
Well, yeah.
Horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah, but
confirmation bias and cognitive dissonance are rough, man.
Sure, and it's tougher for some people than others.
It's not just what you experience in your mind. I had, I get teary-eyed with the Star Spangled Banner and the flag raising, and I got all that teary-eyed stuff. I did it, but it's
wuss.
I was that guy.
I'm kidding.
Because Frosted Flakes was still good. That's why. But when I changed over, it didn't happen right away. But the ripples, they're still going out. All the ripples in my life, the things that are changing in my life because of this, the things that I think we've all experienced this. Unless you started really, really early and you were surrounded by anarchists, there's a big cost to pay. It's kind of like if you grow up an Orthodox Jew and all of your friends and family are Orthodox Jews and you suddenly announce that you're a Christian or an atheist or Hindu or anything other than Orthodox Jew, you got to give up some stuff. It's a heavy cost. And
that's a really good analogy.
To that, right? Yeah. I think we can all relate to that. We've all paid the price. And at some subconscious level, they know that.
See, I agree with you because that's something I said the other day, and then whoever I was talking to was immediately like, no, I don't. Or no, I think I was talking to Chandler St. Pierre, and when we had him on last week, and I said kind of the same thing. I think everybody has it in there, but they don't want to see it. They don't want to admit to it because it does. It changes everything.
We're born with understanding that coercion is bad. We just know it,
And then it gets beaten out of us through coercion, not coincidentally.
Right, yeah.
Well, yeah. Very good point, Dan.
And then we have friends, families, businesses, connections, liabilities, accountabilities that are all wrapped around. There are people in my life that I want to have a good relationship with them, and you don't realize until you cross over, and you guys, I know you know what I mean, how much this belief that coercion is evil touches so much of our lives. So whatever people end up talking about, you have to make a choice to bite your tongue or say something. More and more people, when you start saying more and more stuff,
I don't bite.
But when you don't bite, then you lose.
I don't care, man. I'd rather be right than have friends. But I'm different.
Well,
I'm way different.
There's a balance to be made there. There's also, on the other hand, if you cut yourself off from everyone, then you end up speaking into an echo chamber. So you have to measure that as well. You like on my Facebook page, for instance, I am still connected to State on State Faces. And it's because I want an opportunity to speak to them. I put up with their crap because I want an opportunity to speak to them. Now, if they cross a certain line, eventually they got to go. But I try to measure that. I don't want to cut myself off from everyone.
I agree with you. I don't cut myself off necessarily, but I also am not one to bite my tongue very often. I did for a while, and then I also went overboard with it. Now I think I found a better balance with it, I guess, which I think is what you're trying to say, right, Paul? That it's like certain situations.
Yeah.
It depends. If you're somebody who is close with your family and certain friends, or you want to be, and having some of these conversations is going to cause too much friction where you would not be able to accomplish that goal, then yeah, you have to make a decision. It's different for everybody. Myself personally, I've always been able to write pretty much anybody off when I need to in order to protect myself, whatever that means at the time. So even with my family, some of them have pushed me to the point now where they are so adamantly against what I'm doing. Not only that they don't support what I'm doing, that's fine, you don't have to support what I'm doing, but like they're like adamantly against it, and it's like, yeah, I can't have you in my life, family or not, I don't care. That's
a rough one, yeah.
You know, I've built a new family. I have other people now that I know I can trust, I can rely on, and I already feel more connected to them than I ever did with these other people. So
yeah, because you have a escape cult syndrome that you're all shared in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's shared experiences, and there is similar interest and similar goals and similar, ideas about how things should be. But it's also, for me, it's just a matter of, I've never believed the old, that old adage, blood is thicker than water. I've never been like that. That's really never been me. I've always been like, yeah, I don't care if we're related. It's about connection with me. It's about trust and respect. And you don't get any of that just because you share the same blood as me, That doesn't matter. I don't care.
I grew up in a background with multiple marriages and divorces, so I ended up with multiple grandmothers, grandfathers, and my favorite grandfather is not my blood grandfather, and my favorite grandmother is not my blood grandmother. So I didn't have a lot of family closeness. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Jeremy. I give a certain amount of standing, respect. Maybe not respect, standing, connection, obligation to people of blood, but I go with the people that go with me. And when you have people in your life that when they look at you and they say, you're of the devil, or words to that effect, you're like, I don't know if I want to walk with this person anymore. This is a little difficult. It's hard to have a conversation with them about anything when they're looking at you and like, you're just gonna our roads are gonna collapse because of you. Well, yeah. That's the plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Our roads are gonna just crumble up and float into space.
That's the freaking plan.
In thin air.
Yes.
Because of Paul Gordon.
Right, Paul Gordon and Frosted Flakes. So
anarchists want to.
And Publix.
All of this is because they didn't fix the freaking Frosted Flakes. See, that's the root of it all for me. If you could just fix the Frosted Flakes,
that is one fucking hell of a butterfly effect, man.
Isn't it, though? Isn't it?
Frosted Flakes are the root of all evil.
Pretty well. Yeah, the
bad pre-GMO Frosted Flakes. I'm guessing that's what's going on.
Yeah, the pre-GMO Frosted Flakes for fly. What happened was in about 2007, during the collapse. You guys have probably noticed it. The inflation is being hidden. You guys know this. And what they've done is they have cheapened your food, and they have lessened the quality. And they've lowered the size of the proportions and everything are smaller. The packages still look largely the same, but it's changed. It's really, really different because they're hiding the inflation.
Well, sure, they have to at this point, because like we were saying,
for sure,
with everything else, with having to pull back a little bit at this point, because there has been a very heavy push, and they have been extremely successful in getting what they want, especially obviously post 9/11, where they were able to just ram so many things through so quickly.
Oh God!
Things that some of these folks have been waiting for years to have implemented, and it was just a matter of time. And then they rode that wave for a good 5-6 years after that, and were able to get even more stuff. And again, whatever didn't pass was the stuff they really didn't care about in the first place. It was just thrown out there to get the people riled up, and get the people all. Once you get the people that do care enough to, or think their vote think that their vote matters enough to make those phone calls and write those letters to their congressman. Once you get them up in arms, you can do pretty much anything, because the rest of the people are either apathetic and don't pay attention anyway, Or are people like us who, even if we pay attention and try to tell other people, they won't believe us, even as it's going on right in front of their faces. It's like, hey, look, you see the guy climbing out of the window with the TV in his hand? You see him? No, what?
No, he's a bat. It's okay.
Yeah, like
that is racist, Jeremy.
He's backing out of the window.
But
with your TV.
Don't look at what he's doing.
It's not even a random TV. It's your TV. Do you see that?
Drop the TV, Hillary.
He's a badge. It's okay. If he doesn't take my TV, what'll happen to my roads? Seriously.
Yeah, it's tough. But, like I said, for me, I've never had a problem writing people off. So I mean, I don't do it permanently all the time, but I will to the point where it's just, yeah, I can't really have you in my life. If I have to come across you, especially when it comes to family, if I have to come across you at certain functions, I can be cordial, but that's all you'll get out of me.
Yeah, my problem is I can be cordial. A lot of people, not so much. And it's almost like they think, oh, it's a phase. Let me go check and let me take his temperature here.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Paul. Hey, what do you think about Donald Trump? I think I've told you what I thought about Donald Trump, but would you like me to repeat that? And then when you repeat it, then you guys know this. If you're talking to a conservative, you're a communist, and if you talk to a progressive, you're a right-wing nut.
Yep.
Whichever one you're talking to.
You're a fascist.
Yeah, you communist or you fascist. Yes, exactly.
Well, it's because we don't fit in their paradigm, Paul.
Mm.
So they have a misallocation of terms, of pejoratives to use.
Yeah, you're not in the in group. You must be in the out group.
Yeah, because
we are.
We are in the out group, but to them, the out group just consists of people who are against what they are, and in their minds, it's only people who would be voting. So it has to be those Republicans or those conservatives or whatever name they're using currently to disparage each other.
Yeah, I called a constitutionalist a communist recently, and he called me a communist in return.
Wow, that is not an argument.
Well, he showed you, Dan. He showed you, Dan.
Well, neither of those was an argument, but that's not the point. I don't think
he
that was the
proved
point.
me wrong.
That is not an argument.
You're a communist. No, you're a communist. No, you're a communist. No, you're a communist.
Let's go to the next column.
Yeah.
That was my weak step, and I got to work on my Molyneux. I got to get that down. Seriously.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Presently,
I don't
know. He's I don't do English that well, so.
He's like English Canadian. It's weird. It's a strange mix.
Just say sorry a lot.
It was very disarming.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Hope you're doing well.
Sorry, that's
actually,
not an argument.
That was pretty good, actually.
I can get a little snippet, but that's all I can do. I can't sustain it, I lose it after a while. Hey, did you guys see the Stefan Molyneux thing recently with the cops and describing how the problem is that people don't realize that they need cops? Did you guys see that?
No.
I watched it. I don't think I got that from it.
I haven't seen it yet.
But
oh, you didn't?
I don't know what Steph's been doing lately. He's been very confusing. Very confusing.
I listen to his videos with regularity, and in the beginning, I mean, it was like maybe a year ago, it was 80-20. 80% was good stuff, and 20% was puddles. And now it's getting more and more puddling. It's maybe 40% puddling and 60% good stuff. I like the truth about stuff for the most part.
Maybe he's getting burned out.
I think it's an example of, even like I'm trying to make a living doing what I do, which is I produce content. I'm starting a newspaper, and I look at Stefan Molyneux, and I look at some of these other guys, and at one point I was thinking, I need to build some sort of. I'm still doing my media thing that I'm trying to build to serve the libertarian ANCAP community. But I'm thinking but because of what I've seen from them, I'm thinking, I gotta build something outside of that I don't start to become dependent on the ANCAP media thing that I'm building. Because if I do, what's going to happen is I'm going to do what they do. At some point, I'm going to look and say, this audience could be bigger. So I'm gonna try to build some stuff that actually serves a bigger audience that isn't so much focused on ANCAP stuff without violating my principles. But I think when you start to build something that is intended to serve a very ideological, small audience, when you get to a certain level of growth, it's really difficult to resist the temptation to change your message, to expand and grow your audience.
Like you said, once you get to a certain point, well, why not? Why not keep pushing it? But I can't speak to what happened with Stefan. Every time this comes up, I've said I've kind of just drifted away. It's not high on my priority list anymore, and I don't even really listen. He kind of lost me with his.
Yeah.
He kind of lost me with the way he was handling all the situations that came up with the cop. Eric Garner was kind of like the last straw for me. I was like, yeah, I don't think you're as serious about this as you're talking
redeem
about.
Himself? Could he redeem himself with a really good 2-hour video on why we should privatize the police?
Could he swing himself up? Maybe with not having a cop on the show that gets to do half-hour cop apologetics unchallenged, saying a bunch of crap that's not true and not being challenged at all by Stefan. Maybe if he didn't do that, that'd be a start.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's gotten progressively worse and has reached that point, and that's why I'm like, I mean, what was the one quote I saw, or somebody asked him a question on Facebook the other day?
I am what is necessary.
Yeah, that was his response. They asked him if he was an ANCAP.
I am what is necessary.
Or a neocon, whatever, and that was his response. I am what is necessary. Yeah.
Yeah. What does that even mean? That's so subjective.
He's become.
It's purposely. I believe it's purposely vague, is what it is. It's this. I don't know. I've lost interest. I think he's gone in a different direction that I have no desire to follow in.
Very alt-righty.
I still recommend
I was just going to say, he's going down the path of, problem is that we just don't have the right Liberty DNA. We need the right, we've got to do whatever we've got to do. We've got to get that Liberty DNA, and we've got to, shut down the borders and let the black people die, or whatever it takes, because, we look at the statistics here, and, he could show his statistics. I don't know cause and effect or what those, the lower IQs and all that, but all of it, if you accept what he has to say, all of it changes your focus from the individual that's in front of you to the collective. And we're all individual focused. I don't care who you are. I don't care what belief system you say you have. Within reason, I mean, if you say you have a belief system that believes that you should kill me, I'm not going to trust you right from the start. But within reason, whatever your belief system, whatever your race, your ethnicity, your culture, whatever you present in front of me is how I'm going to assess you. And Molyneux has decided that he's going to follow the statistics and the data, and he's going to put us all into a collectivist box.
Great summation.
Thank you. I've been eating my Frosted Flakes, and it's doing good stuff. I mean, it tastes like crap, but the GMOs are kicking.
Well, they recently started putting Soylent Green in it, so.
Oh, dude. You know what? I remember one time back a few years ago, they talked about when I still liked McDonald's. I don't like McDonald's anymore, but at the time, I loved McDonald's. And they were saying, McDonald's has like the gizzards and guts, whatever gross stuff. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, yum. So, whatever, man.
Yeah,
they all taste the same going down.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Give me the offal. If the offal tastes good, give it to me, man.
Anyway,
I take us to a dark place again.
Yeah, well, yeah. Before we hit the fourth time, I think we should get wrapping up anyway.
Do we have a redemption here? Can I steal that from the Freedom? Can we steal that from the Freedom?
No,
we can't do that.
No,
that sucks, man. Wait! It's a Bipcot No Gov show. We can do that.
I can do.
Come on.
Listen. Anyway, I think we should get wrapping up.
I'm just kidding.
Before we get going, though, Paul, I want to give you a chance to give any last words and also plug anything and everything you choose to plug at this point, sir. And I also I just also want to say thank you very much. I appreciate you coming on. It's always good to talk to you. So I'm glad you were available tonight.
And actually, I'm a regular.
Yeah, man.
I'm a regular listener.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Seeds of Liberty regular listener. It's interesting. I discovered you, Jeremy, through Seeds of Liberty, and I started listening to Seeds of Liberty, and then you joined. And I discovered Freedom Fiends independent of you, and then you joined Freedom Fiends. So you're on two of my favorite shows. So that's awesome.
Woohoo.
I'll give you
He's
my...
on 2 of my favorite shows as well.
Really? What
Yeah.
shows are those?
The Seeds
Oh,
of
you like
Liberty
this
and
show?
the Freedom Fiends.
Oh, you like this show?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Wow.
Okay. The thing I'm working on, the big focus right now is my YouTube channel. You can Google it. News shooting, self-defense. I'm going to start making these little videos that highlight how guns are used in awesome ways. And then my friend, my fellow ANCAPper and my anarchist, sorry, I like using anarchist and ANCAPper, and my gun buddy, we're starting a weekly show on Spreaker called Full Auto. So pay attention to that. And on my Facebook page is State of Wake, facebook.com/State of Wake, all one word. And I think that's the thing. You can find me on Facebook, Paul Gordon. And if you find me on Facebook and you're a hot chick, no, I'm just kidding. My wife isn't going to listen to this, is she?
I have no control over that.
You can find me on Facebook, Paul Gordon, and that's it. I got no closing remarks other than, the offer still stands. Legitimate, real Frosted Flakes.
Yes, before Paul decides to destroy the world over these things.
Yes. Pull me back from the brink.
You remind me of Woody Harrelson in Zombieland and his Twinkies.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Yes.
All right.
I could just get one more gall darn Twinkie.
Exactly.
Daniel, do you have anything else you want to say before we get wrapping up?
No, I think I'm pretty much good to go. This has been fun, and I really enjoyed it.
All right, man. Yeah, I appreciate you. I'm glad we were able to get you on and get you better audio than you had with Jared and Dave last week, because that was kind of brutal to listen to. But we fixed some things, and now we have some new tricks to give out to other people who want to use FeenPhone, that it can be done in this manner.
Bad audio is
I'm
a
helping.
hate crime.
Yes, bad audio is a hate crime, and I have to be reminded of that all the time. That is now what's going on my tombstone. That is my new legacy. I built that.
You did build that. I didn't get the stickers yet, but I will.
Even though I'm one of the least responsible for what actually happened.
The narrative is so much more fun when you are, though.
Of course it is. Good time had by all. Love it.
Yes, exactly. I don't know about you, but the rest of us, it was awesome.
So, yeah, expect that.
I love Paul.
So, all right, Dave. Anything before we get out of here?
I just wanted to thank everyone for coming on the show, man. It was fun. I hope the DNC burns in flames.
Me too. I hope the RNC
hope
burns
it becomes. It's already, that one's already over. But then, the Hillary and Trump debates, I'm really excited about those and just laughing at them, laughing about how terrible they're going to be. If people think this is what government is supposed to be, when they're pie in the sky idea of government, it's probably nowhere near what's going on what's happening right now in reality. And I think more people are waking up to that. Like, holy crap, something's way off track here. So hopefully they'll start looking into anarchy.
Yeah, well,
and that's all I got
actually,
for today.
this is how government works. You're just seeing the truth.
Well, yeah. That's kind of like that one meme I made. Was that last week, 2 weeks ago? The Bernie meme with the woman asking what happened to her free education and him laughing, saying, "What do you think this was?" Because this was an excellent for people who actually want to pay attention. This was an excellent example of exactly what happens anytime.
That's it. Bernie's the secret anarchist.
Yeah, there you go. I've said a number of times, if even a quarter, heck, even an eighth of the amount of people who made the full recognition of what was going on after what happened to Ron Paul from Bernie's camp start just questioning things, not even converting, just starting questioning things more, I think it'll be a success for people who actually want to be free. Like, that many more people joining the ranks of people who are just not convinced that there's something wrong with government, or starting to question the existence of government at all. That'll be huge. And I think there's a good possibility that people collectivize them and make them all out to be these young, the millennials. Like, I talk to so many people especially after one of the latest memes I made of making fun of the Bernie people, saying, "Oh, yeah, it was all millennials. They don't know any better." It's like, no, have you seen the rallies? It's not all young kids.
Oh, no.
There's plenty of 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds who are out there for Bernie. So, by no means are these people who haven't gotten beaten down before and may just shrug this off as, oh, this was just a bad first experience. No, there's a lot of people that will have seen this happen time and time again, and hopefully this big screw job that Bernie got supposedly will have at least a modicum of the impact that it had on the Ron Paul through the Ron Paul campaign.
Hey, can I mention one more thing about if I don't do this, my one co-host will kill me.
Oh yes.
I'm also on Disassociation Nation, which is on FBRNradio.com. And Jeremy, you've actually been on Disassociation Nation, and I need to have the beard on soon.
Yes.
Oh man, just hit me up and let me know.
I will, and we're on Mondays now, so.
Oh, okay.
So Dave, that's probably better for you. We switched them.
Way better.
Yeah.
Mondays.
Okay, I did that so that way Niz doesn't sacrifice me to the Frosted
All right,
Flake,
there you go, Niz. We got the plug-in. So, all right, well. I guess we'll finally get out of here now. I really appreciate both you guys again for coming on. This is it's been a fun, interesting conversation. It's not often that I can say that actually having a conversation about the political landscape and the wannabe rulers. So yes, we had some fun doing that.
Yep. Frosted Flakes are bust.
Boycott Publix.
Oh yes, yes.
Boycott Publix. Yep. Got to get that done.
If you have any, if you're somebody who's big on the cannabis scene or even just the medical cannabis scene for any reason, yeah, definitely look into that and consider maybe.
Hey, I'm not big, but if Publix was in my area, I'd be with the boycott.
Yeah, this is something I would definitely I think is boycott worthy, at least for me. So I didn't know about that before, so definitely get the word out about that too, because that's how we plan on doing things in LibHair anyway, right? Most things are going to be done by...
That's how you change.
Social shaming.
Exactly.
Walk with your dollar.
Hey, Jeremy, you know about social shaming, right?
Sure. Oh, yeah. No, I have no... I have no idea what that's like, Paul. I've never experienced it in my life. I've never spent hours upon hours being called out on national radio for weeks at a time. Never happened before. I don't know what you're talking about.
I've had residual preemptive social shaming as a result. I'm spending hours working on my freaking audio so that I don't end up. I know.
All right.
Yeah.
Social shaming doesn't really work on me. I mean, the attention is just. I mean, don't give me a podium.
Oh, you just love it?
I'm constantly socially shamed, but that's more of a sexual thing.
Well, you should probably wear pants in Publix. That's the first step.
Never.
Pants in Publix.
No, he's a kilt man or bust. You know how you're all in on Frosted Flakes? He's all in on the kilt.
I'm down with experimenting the kilt. Seriously, that looked
excellent.
Well, look, Dan, it's
Dan
working.
said there's a cult that happens. Once you wear a kilt, you join a cult.
Exactly. They're trying to take over the world.
Over to the Kiltian.
The kilt
Another
cult.
Kiltian. Yes. Another Kiltian.
Kilts are love. Kilts are life.
Yes. Well. All right.
Check us out on patreon.com/Seeds of Liberty.
All right. So this has been the Seeds of Liberty podcast. All of our information can be found at theseedsofliberty.com. One of these days we will actually have a new site, even though Dave keeps promising it every week. I noticed he didn't say it this week, but I'll say it. Where's the new site, Dave? Anyway, just kidding. But that's where all of our...
I've got to call Sean and yell at him.
Go yell at our webmaster who's working for us for free. All of our information can be found there. And please, if you happen to find this content, wherever you may find it, like, share, comment, pass it along, and help us keep spreading the message.
And join the Seeds of Liberty community on Facebook.
Yeah, or the Seeds of Liberty community on Telegram. We're all over the place. And we're just trying to help keep each other sane while the state collapses around us. Because that's really what's going to end up happening.
That's exactly what it is. Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So, again, this has been the Seeds of Liberty podcast, and we will catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Good night, everybody. Linger longer.
Peace.
Recently reading into the thesis, mirroring the people who completely fail to see
to call us utopians. They're actually projecting their own self-hatred onto us.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to bipcot.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.